And record. There we are. Good morning, good morning, good morning to all of you. Happy Monday, July the 13th, 2026. We are halfway through July. It's crazy. I mean, wow, John just left the end of June, and here we are halfway through July. It seems like time really is going fast this summer. I was thinking about it, and the grandkids only have another month of school off, and then they go back. So summer is definitely cruising on by. We're going to start this morning off like we do every morning, and that is with a rundown of the ES, NASDAQ, and Dow futures. Then a short, quick explanation of my SPX day trading chart. If you're in the SPX room, you'll have those buy zones and sell zones in for set and forget type trades in the notes section. But we like to use the futures charts because they give us more data, 23 hours worth of data, whereas SPX does not, it just gives regular trading hour data, not as much data. So let's start her off. I really, I mean, golly, here we are. We are back at the top of the chop where we finished last week. Now, the market's down about 26, 27 points today, but really not surprising in the fact that we're at the top of what has been chopped for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, now 8 weeks. We need to see one of two things happen. Either we're going to make new all time highs, we're going to bust out of the top of this choppy area, and price is going to continue this rally. That can happen, or we can continue to chop in the what was it, like 200 point range, really, except for this big bottoming wick. We've been chopping in a 200 point range, 300 point range for 7 weeks, 8 weeks now. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But on the weekly chart, that's what I'm seeing. So my bias is that we break out to the upside from this chop. Why is that my bias? Well, because the trend is bullish. And trends uh, uh, usually continue rather than having a big, huge reversal. Now, when we pull back to the lower end of chop in this demand zone, in the key Fibonacci areas, look for buyers to step in. If we take out the lower end of this chop, then we could be looking for prices to pull back into these lower levels. But for now, my bias is that we break out above the all-time high. You do have the weekly cloud, the 9 EMA right here at or around 74.80. That is the immediate support on the weekly chart. That and the fact that last week's candle completed an inside and up. Now, I'm not marking this as demand. Just not doing it because, very simply put, it wasn't a dramatic move. But I do realize that we have support right around 75.20, 74.80, and that is last week's candle body where we opened last week, where we created an inside and up, and the 9 EMA here on the weekly cloud. On the daily chart for ES, we are at supply. It is a supply zone that has been tested multiple times. We talked about this all last week and the previous week because we tested it then as well. We created inside and down with a nice big imbalance candle here. We came up, we tested it once and twice and 3 and 4 and 5 times. Then again, 6, 7, and 8, 9, 10, and 11. 11 days we've touched this supply zone. Okay, guys, top end of chop. That's where we're at right now. You can see this week's upper weekly edge on the ES. Today's candle is right here. It's a hammer candle right now. We got buying pressure. Buyers overpowered the sellers when price pulled back to the daily cloud, the daily 9 EMA around 75.60. When price pushed back there, buyers overpowered the sellers. We created this bottoming wick. We got price back up inside of the supply zone, but we're finding resistance at the upper monthly, weekly, and daily edge. Monthly, weekly, daily edge, all right in here. Basically about 20 to yeah, about 20 points from each other. You have those three upper edges. All right. If price continues to find resistance at that area, my first area of support is the bottom of this supply zone. Remember, John teaches us once price got into the bear house, this supply zone, bulls want to keep price in the front door. They want to keep price above 25.89 and a half. If they can keep price and they can stay inside of this zone, then we just treat each one of these trendy edges and yes, Friday's high as resistance on the way up towards the all-time high. All right. The immediate support is down here where price pulled back this morning. The lower daily edge is lined up with the daily 9 EMA. Then you have your weekly edge mid right below there. And we have the demand zone that actually 3 days we played price back up using SPX. But when price pulled back last week into this zone, we played it back up to supply from this daily demand. And that lines up beautifully with the daily 21. I am using last week's low as the bottom of that zone. So, in the event that we roll down today or tomorrow or what have you, anytime we get back here near 75.25 to 74.68, that is support until proven otherwise, and a place that I would look to buy a dip. 4 hour, not going to look any different. You have your buy zones. The lower end of the chop range is down here. This is going to line up with the daily demand zone. Your 4 hour, I went ahead and shrunk it because we have been up here in this at this imbalance candle here so many times. I shrunk this 4 hour zone today and I just used the top portion of the zone, which is 76.25, 76.48. Okay. On my daily blueprint for today, remember the triple stack, upper monthly, upper weekly, upper daily. That is that immediate resistance. I didn't color this all in gray or red. I've already explained that because the top of the supply zone has been tested. I wanted to just have my red zone using the upper daily edge by the all-time high. So my sell zone on ES is 76.20 to 76.48 and 3/4. If price gets up there, that would be a counter trend trade. That means for me, I would want to see confirmation in that zone before just going short because the overall trend is bullish. And if price were up in that zone, I promise you today's trend would also be very bullish. It shows neutral right now, and that's because we're down here. But if price were up here in this sell zone, it would be extremely bullish. And so a trade from a sell zone would be counter trend, and I would need to see confirmation that these sellers are overpowering buyers before going short. All right. As far as the buy zone goes, we did create an inside and up here this morning during the overnight hours, 75.84, 75.66 and a half. Now that was a zone that we used Friday morning as well. So remember, we got the pullback that, and then boom, up she went Friday. Well, the imbalance lines up exactly where we came down to this morning or overnight, and then we pushed up. It's just a bounce from this imbalance and the bottom of that zone. If you wanted to use the entire width on a day trading idea, you could, but I am dividing it out. I do have the low from Friday marked here at 75.52, but I would play this as a zone first and then look for support here or back at the buy zone 75.45 to 75.08. And then below there is our lower weekly edge and the zone that we tested all last week, 74.93 and a half by 74.40. All right. That is ES Blueprint. Let's look at the NAS real quick, and I'm going to do this one faster because same thing. The difference is the NASDAQ has been relatively weaker than the Dow. So therefore, while the ES is up here near all-time highs, the NASDAQ is not. It's down towards the lower end of the chart. That's actually a good thing for the ES because NASDAQ, if it sees buyers down here at the lower end of the chop, that will help NASDAQ push up and through the top of its choppy zone potentially. All right, so I'm looking for buyers on the NASDAQ anywhere here near 29,500 all the way down to the demand zone and the key Fibonacci levels and key moving averages. As far as resistance goes, you have the imbalance candle at 30,415, then imbalance candle at 30,740, and of course the all-time high 30,975. Daily looks like this. You have supply. All right. 29,960. Remember last week we talked a lot about 30,000. Well, we're still going to talk about it this week until price can get up and through this mess. It is an issue for bulls. You got your daily 21 setting right there at or around that key 30,000 area, and price remains stuck just like most all of last week between the daily 50, between the daily uh, 21 and inside of the daily cloud. When price is inside the daily cloud, we expect chop. All right. This is the key area here. We came down, we actually went below the 618 on the NAS, and Friday we came, I think, no, sorry, the 8th of July. We came all the way down to the imposter level. Then we bounced up, and today we're turning back down after hitting supply on Friday. So, in the event that 618 to 887 plays out and we see weakness this week in the NASDAQ and we come down into the weekly demand or those lower levels on the weekly chart, the lower weekly edge, all of that, that 887 plays out right at a demand zone, 28,582. All right, 4-hour chart. Here you have supply. It looks like this more Friday we bounced up into it. It's still here. Why did I leave it on the chart? Well, we didn't close above it. And then overnight we have sold off from there, and we're getting a bounce here at the monthly edge mid and the weekly edge mid. Remember, mid edges, whether they're monthly, weekly, daily, yearly, it doesn't matter. The mid edges, when price is coming from the top, you look at them as support and you treat them as support. Unless price gets below them, then they become resistance. So right now, the monthly and the weekly edge mids are support. So we're looking for support down near 29,600 something by 29,492, that we're looking for this area to be support. The immediate resistance is basically that 30,000. Then you have supply above there all the way up to the all-time high, 30,975 and a half. Daily blueprint looks something like this. We did create an inside and up down here this morning, 29,631 and a half by the low 29,542.75. That lines up with that weekly edge mid and monthly edge mid that I talked about being support. So rather than having this buy zone just there at the formation itself, I'm going to go ahead and use 29,500, 29,500 as the bottom of that zone. All right. All right, below there, inside and up candlestick structure at 29,430, 29,324, and then further down the origin of this move from the low last week on Wednesday. Um, that is the origin of last week's rally, 29,043 by 28,909. Now, just real quick, I'll explain the Dow levels. We have been watching the Dow for the last several weeks, and that is because it has shown strength. And it's good to know where the Dow is at when the NASDAQ is not acting the same way as the ES, right? So the Dow keeps making new all-time highs. Now, it did not make a new all-time high towards the end of last week. It got really, really just range bound between this demand zone and this supply zone. All right, so for now on this daily blueprint for the Dow, we do have support here. On Friday, we came down and we tested the very bottom of this zone that's going to line up with the lower weekly edge. We tested the very bottom of that and we bounced from there. Then this morning or last night, we came down and we tested again and we bounced. It is still there. I left it on the chart. The lower daily edge is there. I didn't move this zone from Thursday when it was created. All right. So I'm leaving it on the chart, but I want you to understand that towards the bottom of this zone where we have the lower weekly edge and the actual demand zone here at 52,464 by 128 is a key zone to watch for buyers to step in because the prior week it was the bottom zone that we created before making the all-time highs each day during that week. All right. And where we came down to and tested and bounced from. And you can tell just by looking at this range, that's about a 50% bounce. Then we come back down. This is my main buy zone, although I would be looking for buyers here today at 52,646. All right. All right. Now, let me get to SPX. The weekly charts, all of the charts are basically going to look the same. We are at the top of the chop. The SPX did not create a new all-time high like the ES did. The SPX all-time high is still sitting here from the June 1st weekly candle. Now, last week was an inside and up, straight up into that area of supply. Remember, I said whenever I made that a red zone, I made it a red zone just to show you that we created a double inside down, but the down move was not impressive. Well, it's just the top of chop, guys. You can see it on the daily chart as well. This is a much better looking imbalance candle. And then we come up and we test this zone again. Remember, I showed you 11 days on ES? Well, SPX is no different. We did come up and test this high that was created on June the 15th. We did that towards the end of the day on Friday. And guess what? We closed just below there. That means that is a key level of resistance again today or this week. The top of that zone is resistance till proven otherwise. It is where I have the sell zone for my intraday blueprint. So it is going to be based off of that 75.78 to 76.21, which is the all-time high. All right, that's a counter trend sell zone. So I would wait for confirmation if I sell the rip there. Let's go to the blueprint itself because the 4-hour chart really isn't different. Here is the blueprint. This is the zone that is still here, just like I talked about earlier from last week. From it was a zone that we traded off of on Friday when price dipped down into this buy zone. We caught the nice move back up to the sell zone or the supply zone. Guess what? The zone is still here for me and it lines up with your lower daily edge. Now, I use the round number of 7,500 because that is the 50% pullback of this current move. So, my first buy zone on SPX is down here at 7,520 to 7,500. But I do want to mention if you're sitting in front of the charts and you want to actively trade this thing, we do have an inside and up candle formation here at 75.38. Now that is about 10, 20 points below if we opened right now where price would be. All right. So we right now, ES is down, let's just call it 30 points. You subtract 30 from here, and price is sitting right around here. All right. If SPX opens right around here, we come back to 75.38.11. Just know I'm going to be watching this for a potential bounce. I want to show you why. I have candlestick structure, obviously, but I also have Fibonacci level as well. Do you see that it is the top of the bull channel? Okay, so I will be actively watching 75.38 as a level to trade off of in the event we do open down in this zone. I would be watching this level as a potential place to go long. I didn't set it as a buy zone on my chart because it's not really a set and forget type level. I want to focus on the lower daily edge and the zone that we bounced from on Friday. All right. So these are my buy zones. If price falls back down below 7,500, we can't hold that as support. Then I'm looking for price to come back to 74.74, where I will have a bid set with half allocation to buy a dip here. If I get filled on that order, you will see the alert. All right. I will be trading this zone with time to expiration, meaning this Friday's expiration. But I will not be in the trade until Friday because I will be on vacation. But I will trade this zone with extra time to expiration and use a scale in type approach, a hybrid approach with half allocation towards the top and then wait for confirmation towards the bottom to add to it. Okay. All right, so I talked about the sell zone. You do have an upper daily and an upper weekly edge here. If we pull back to this zone, just know these levels will be removed from my chart. I will have Fibonacci drawn from where we closed on Friday down to whatever the low is here, and it will give me targets probably lining up with these edges. Okay. So that's what I have on SPX buy zones and sell zones. Again, this sell zone would be a counter trend type of trade. So if I want to go short from here, I would scale in and or wait for confirmation before going short. So I personally have no bid set here to go short aggressively because it's counter trend. I do have a bid set right here to go short or to go long, but not here. Okay. If if you though want to go short here on a first test, I would at the very least, just use half allocation, then wait for confirmation. Wait for proof that sellers are stepping in and defending this supply zone that has been tested 11 times or 11 days since it was created. All right. All right. Let's see. The lower sell zone, I believe I talked about, we will scale or I will scale into that. I have not removed the demand zone from that we didn't get the pullback to last week, where last week's lower weekly edge was setting up in. That was a zone that I wanted to swing trade from last week. I just never got the pullback, so we had to swing trade from the mid levels. Well, this week's mid, if you run your Fibonacci's from the lower edge to the upper edge, you're going to find that 7,500 is going to be that 50% between the supply and between the demand. So 7,500, the bottom of this zone, is a key level here for buyers to step in and defend the weekly edge mid to potentially push price back up to 75.62. Another reason why 7,500 is the bottom of that zone. All right, guys. So that's what my SPX blueprint looks like this morning. Here is XSP. I will fill that one out. If the cost of SPX in the morning is too expensive for my allocation and account size, then I will choose XSP. Now, if I trade XSP, make sure that you bid the mid and you don't get filled on a natural bid because they can have a wider bid ask spread. Now, I don't have trouble getting in and out of these trades, even though the open interest looks really small. The only complaint I would have about XSP is that the bid and ask spread can be a little too wide, but I have been trading it over the last 6 months and finding success. Uh, does my day trade chart, the 2 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, the all day, all the same charts? Yeah, so TLC, my day trade charts, the zones are based on 2 hour or 4 hour zones, but it doesn't change whether I'm trading a 30-minute chart, a 15, a 5, a 3, a 1. It still has the same zones. All right. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off of here and listen to what John has to say this morning.
Be a few things I probably need to do because I came back from vacation, and I could see right away I'm hearing an echo, so I'm going to have to log out and, log back in, but I'll be right back. So let's do a test here. Good morning, everybody. We'll test each room one by one. Make sure you guys can hear me. If I could just get a yes, and then I'll move on and get into the SPX room. Back sounds good, John. Okay, good, good, good. Good deal. All right, thank you very much. Now let's get over to SPX room. All right, then I'm going to test over here. Here's Johnny. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Charlie? Good morning. Good morning, everybody. So we are good here in the SPX room, and then mastering the trade. We will be in the MTT room this morning. So we have 3 different rooms going, guys. 3 different rooms. All right. So just know that if for some reason I don't see a question or any comments, I'm not trying to ignore you. But I feel like with 3 rooms, there's a lot coming at you, especially coming back from 2 weeks of vacation. Thank you, Mel, for the great review. Got my charts marked up, and there was a couple things I was forgetting. I was like, man, you go on vacation, and it's like you forget the simple things that you've been doing for many, many years. Anyways, I'll talk about Alaska, you know, later on in the day, and some of my experiences with Vancouver Island. I think that's what it's called, BC, right? Absolutely gorgeous. Seattle was absolutely amazing. People tell me that it rains there, but the whole entire time we were in Seattle, it was hot, it was sunny, and it was just absolutely stunning. So I had a really, really good experience. Very happy about going there. I actually would go back. So pretty neat. All right, so in the Trinity room and SPX room, let me go ahead and share a few things with you guys to get us going here. So let's pull up the future screen for me. And I'm going to put this bad boy on. I'm going to make sure everybody is there. And SPX room, I'm going to go ahead and share my future screen as well. All right, there we go. All right, so we should be able to see the screens. We should be able to hear my voice. Tracy, you did. Are you in Seattle? Where are you, Tracy? The weather, everyone kept saying, so I met a couple people and they were like, hey, we actually tell people that we don't have good weather. That way they don't move here. I kind of believe them. Yeah. So that maybe that's the secret is everybody in Seattle's like just telling you fibs, right? I don't know. Could be true. All right, so let's get started. So first off, I want to make sure that we understand the itinerary for today. So I'm just going to reread just in case you did not read my message that I sent out yesterday. I'm happy to be back from vacation. My overall P&L for my API account is at an all-time high again. And every time it comes to an all-time high, we tend to get the pullback. That's just kind of the ebb and flow of the market. All right, and here I am Monday morning and the market's pulling back a little bit. Now, I did take a few trades while I was on vacation, and it really helps to kind of understand what the market's doing, but also just sitting in the chair for many, many years, you get an idea. I don't even have to look at the screens. It's like I wake up on a Monday, market's down, wake up on a Tuesday, market's down, and I'm thinking inside of my head, hey, I've been teaching everybody for many years, 2 to 3 days down, I'm looking for a move back up. And then I just simply buy the futures, I stay in the trade, and boom, I make some money. I know it sounds really simple, right? I think it takes a little bit of time in the chair, but it really doesn't have to be difficult. And I learn every time I go on vacation. And believe it or not, guys, since the very first time that I opened up Trendy Options, which was my first business name, I used to spend a lot of time in front of the screens, and I love doing that. But I've been noticing lately that when I go away, I really have truly loved, like, I just feel like I just love trading. And it reminds me that I don't have to be in front of the screens all the time. In my earlier years, I'd go away and I'd be like in trouble. The market wouldn't do what I want, or I felt like it was getting away from me. There was just a lot of emotions. And now, as I get better every single year, it actually feels good to get away from the screens and still make money. And that's something that I'm personally experiencing now. And that wasn't something that I always experienced. So the secret for me is not staring at charts all day. It's not overthinking every tick. It's just trusting your levels and trusting that the process, supply and demand, really do work well and execute them. Execute your plan. The less I micromanage, the better I feel. And I want to make sure because I've been leading that way, especially in 2026. I remember Mel and I spoke months ago, and it's one of these things where I can stay on the mic and I could talk to you guys forever, man. There used to be times when I first started, I would not stop talking from the time that we opened to the end of the day. This was a normal thing that I would do. And we would just trade and we would have fun. And then I've noticed as time goes by, I spend less time on the mic. And I truly believe that is important. I don't do it because I don't want to hang out with you guys all day. My wife would tell you, I love being here. All right. But I actually am doing it because I find that I'm a better trader, and I'm also trying to lead by example. All right. So the first 30 to 90 minutes are dedicated to live trading. All right. That's what I want to do. I want to like live trade in front of you. Whether I hit, a winner or whether I lose, I feel like we all get some sort of benefit from watching me execute, right? Like when I win, it's like, okay, cool. We follow the process. Sometimes I'll take a trade, I follow the process, but I still lose. That's also an experience that I want you guys to be able to see. Now, whether you trade with me or not, that's okay. You don't have to trade with me. But if you choose to trade with me, understand that you and I are different. My risk may be different than you. All right. I may be wanting to stay in a trade a little bit longer than you. All these things are really important, things that weren't really discussed with me when I first started trading and I was copying people. So I think it's really important. You'll see my entries, my exits, my adjustments, and you'll hear my thought process in real time. All right. Just like Mel's telling you, right? When she's on the mic. All right. Now I like to use the active trader, and you guys can see that on my screen here. And I have well, I don't have the micros here, but I will put that in. That's going to be the MES right here. And I do trade the minis as well. Now, I'm kind of like different than a lot of traders. I really am. I try not to talk too much about the money that I make, like actual numbers, but I like to demonstrate with micros on here. That doesn't mean that I'm not trading the minis in the background. Okay. So I like to put the micros on here because I believe that it resonates with more traders than not. A lot of people, I think you need to start on the micros because you can find yourself in trouble very quick with the mini positions. They can go against you really, really quickly. All right. It's just a lot more money. So I like to teach everybody from the micro position. All right. Just a little bit easier for you guys to stick in there on these trades. Okay. Now, once we get through the 30 to 90 minutes, and I say 30 to 90 minutes, sometimes everyone, I'm already finished within the first 15 minutes. And when I say finish, I just mean like in my head, I'm looking to make X amount of money per day. I don't like to put a solid number on it because I find that if I come in and say, hey guys, I have to make X amount of money every morning, I'll find myself at times over trading or overcompensating, if you will, to try to get to a number. So I keep it open. It can be anywhere from $100 to $1,000 very quickly. Okay. Matter of fact, the bigger money comes to me faster than the smaller money. Because when you're using micros and you're just doing one or two contracts, you could be sitting in a position all through the day. When I'm trading a mini contract, whether it's in the NASDAQ or the ES futures, I, I hit those numbers very quickly. Okay. Either way, it's up to you what you want to do. And as a reminder, I would like for everybody to make sure that you get your futures trading somehow. Reach out to your broker, okay? Because we're going to teach you in here how we trade using the levels. all right? And the futures are beneficial because you can trade 6 days a week, all right? 6 days a week, folks. And I'm trading options. Like, so for example, right now, I have a iron fly on for the ES futures, okay? And I'll show you that real quick. All right, so that's the first thing that I wanted to discuss with you. All right. Now, if you follow me on social media, you guys will see some of these trades every once in a while, right? And you might be like, where did that come from? Right. So if we come into, I'm going to detach this real quick. And I put this on last night, right? This is my first trade coming back starting Sunday. This is the ES futures, and the benefits here I discuss on my X account. All right. And I'm going to pull this down. This is the position that I put on last night. All right. And basically, my thought process after looking at the blueprint is that price would most likely stick around the 7,600 range. Now, this is already up almost $100 a contract. All right. And the cool thing is, it's an options trade, right? It's an options trade. So I don't have to get stopped out. What I paid is my risk. And I can make up to, I think it was like $800 or something like that on this trade, and I would only lose $200. And really, I just need price to sit around the 7,600 range. And because it sat around that range all night long, it's already decayed, right? So I've sold this to open, okay, to Iron Fly, and I'm making money on it. Okay. So that is a benefit of the ES futures. It's not just about trading straight in and straight out. You can also trade options. Okay. So for all of you guys out there who have not gotten permission to trade in the futures, please, that's the one thing I'm actually trying to encourage you guys to do. We trade futures every single morning here. And Melissa also goes over the ES futures, the NASDAQ futures, and I've noticed she's also been doing the Dow Jones futures with you guys. All right. So there is money to be made there. We don't have to wait for the market to open. We don't have to trade just one instrument. We have a lot of different options here. All right. And I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. So the itinerary is not going to change. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to trade the futures in SPX almost every single morning. As I said before, my SPX is automated. So I don't really need to do anything, which is really nice. I just sit back. Okay. So that means my concentration is primarily on these future charts right here and trading off this active trader that is right in this section. Okay. Manually trading this in and out. Okay. Now to go over everything with you all real quickly, and I may do, and I apologize. I will probably go over this again with the MTT room just real fast, but I want to make sure everybody in here, because I don't know if anyone's new here, but on my futures trading, I want to go over each one of these spots with you. This is the ES futures, and currently I have it on a 5-minute chart. The zones that are automated here at the moment are 4-hour supply and demand zones. Okay. And you can see that prices come down into this gold area is the golden pocket. Okay. So it's come down to the golden pocket, it's bounced, whatever. And you can also see that I had an entry here for a short. My risk was 4 points and it hit our rewards down to about 8 points. So that was a nice two reward, one risk. Okay. So these are automated. They're on the screen. Over here in the middle section, this is the 1-minute chart. Okay. So a lot of times I don't use the MES chart. I actually use the ES chart, but I'm taking my trades on the micros, but using this over here. SPX room, right? For me, and it's been like this from day one since I started teaching. Okay. I always have used the ES futures chart for my SPX trading. Okay. And matter of fact, my automated trading is based off of the ES chart. It's not based off a SPX chart or anything like that. Doesn't mean you can't use it. Obviously, you can. Melissa does really well teaching you and showing you how to use that chart. But what I mean is, if the ES futures comes into a supply zone, I'm looking to go short. If ES futures comes into a zone that's automated here, and I like my risk to reward, I could trade the SPX, the MES, whatever I feel like. Okay. So this is the beauty of the ES, and this is why I always called this the blueprint. The ES futures blueprint gives me the ability to take many of my trades based off of one chart. That's absolutely amazing, guys. Okay. So understand what we have here. This is a very powerful blueprint that can make you a lot of money very quickly. Okay. In this middle section with the 1 minute, the reason why we use or why I have the 1 minute chart on here is because I teach you. Can you believe all that rain, Ash? Mel, I don't know if you've been getting rain while we've been gone. I know that you were telling me before I left that it's pretty dry down there. We have gotten storms, I've heard. Matter of fact, I gotta show you guys a picture of we got so many storms and it's storming so bad right now. But we got so much rain. I came back and all my pavers, stone that are around the entire backyard, around the pool, down to the dock. There's like plants growing, I swear, like little trees out of each of the cracks. It is a lot of work that we have to do. So we've already come home and went, holy crap. So if you don't know anything about Florida, when we get a lot of rain, that means a lot of plants and a lot of weeds, and it means a lot of work. So I'm going to be really busy this week taking care of some of those things. Anyways, the reason why we use a 1 minute chart is because remember, we use the PMZ in the morning. The PMZ is the pre-market zone. Price comes, down to it. We're looking to go long. Price moves up to it. We're looking to go short, right? Everybody knows that. This is basically a supply and a demand zone, if you will, depending on what direction you're coming into this thing. Okay. And I want to go over that with you because the 1 minute for me is really important. All right. And that PMZ is going to pop up on your chart and it's just a box, and I don't want you to overthink this thing. It's just a freaking box, man. And that box makes it easier for us to make money very quickly. So, for example, we have different types of setups out of the PMZ. And the one that I teach you and continue to teach you every single morning is the aggressive and the conservative approach. And I want to make sure we go over that. So, in the event that the candle itself, let's say that it is inside the PMZ here, okay? On conservative, you're going to wait for that 5 minute candle to close. And let's say that the 5 minute candle closes up here. Okay, so we have a 5 minute close, it's above the PMZ. What I would like for you to do is wait for price to come back down towards the PMZ. And, I would say once it gets very close or touches the PMZ is where I want you to lock in. All right. So it's going to come back. What I mean is lock in. You're just focused. And at this point, right here, I want you to make a decision whether or not you are going to go aggressive or if you're going to go conservative. Okay. So, yes, we waited 5 minutes. We are conservative. We wait for price to come back. But now, right at this juncture, I need you to figure out, are you going to go aggressive or conservative? Aggressive means as soon as we come back here, boom, you take the trade and you're looking for price to bounce back up. Does everybody understand that? Can I get some participation? Yes or no? The price comes back. We are thinking, hey, do we want to be aggressive or do we want to be conservative? Okay. And this right here, what I'm showing you, this is an aggressive approach to what we would call a pullback to the PMZ. Okay. All right, so we got that out of the way. SPX Rome, it's the same exact thing. Okay, price comes back. Do you want to be conservative or do you want to be aggressive? On a conservative, let me go ahead and draw this over. We wait for the 5 minute to close. We wait for price to come back. It's getting close. You're locking in, but this is still a 5-minute chart. Okay. And we're waiting for it to close. Now, why would we wait for it to close? Because guess what, guys? This candle could go inside here and save you some money. Am I right? And I hear you guys say that a lot in the SPX room. Man, being conservative, I just really saved my ass, right? That's what you guys are thinking. And then it might even come all the way down like this. And you're going to look back and you're going to go, dude, if I would have taken that long, I would have got my butt handed to me. Thank you so much, conservative strategy, right? Right. Okay. All right. So we're going to wait for it to close. I'm going to give you a couple options here. Boom. You wait for it to close. Now, this right here for me then becomes what we call a neutral strategy. Okay. What defines neutral strategy? Did you know the dogs were outside? Neutral strategy, the candle has closed in the PMC. That means we don't know if it's going above or we're going below. So therefore, it is neutral. Okay. That means candles can go up to the upside or downside. What I do right here is when it closes, I go to a 1-minute chart. So let's say that the 1 minute happens here, 2-minute comes up here, boom, 2-minute closes. I'm going long, boom. Okay. If the 1-minute candles, let's say we go back to when this candle closed and starts to break down, let's say the next 1-minute candle closes, boom, we're closed. I'm going short. Neutral. I don't care if we go up. I don't care if we go down. Okay. That's what happens there. All right. So this is a neutral strategy. I'm open-minded. This is a different pullback, aggressive, going long. Okay. Now, what's that look like on the downside? Well, exactly what you would think. It is the opposite. Conservative. Candle closes down below. We wait for it to close. We're going to wait for prices to push back up. As we get close or touching, again, everybody has a different perspective, but you know what close is. You're going to have to decide here whether or not you want to be aggressive or conservative. Aggressive, boom, you put your short in and you're looking for this to happen here. Okay. All right. Conservative, you're going to wait for prices to close. So let me draw that over. Candle closes, prices move back up. It's close. You're not being aggressive. You're going to wait for it to close. Now, let me show you a different approach. Price goes all the way up here, and now it closes. All right. This is what we call a pass-through candle. It's moved all the way back up. So you were thinking about going short, and now you're like, I'm so glad that I didn't get aggressive. Right? I know you guys. I know what you're going to say. I'm glad I didn't get aggressive. That conservative strategy really saved me, right? And now you're going to have to go, okay, what do I do here? Well, you're waiting for the candle to close. So now we start the whole process over. Candle closes. You wait for price to pull back. You decide here if you want to be aggressive or conservative. Okay? Everybody got that? Now you should. If you've been here for quite some time, then none of this it shouldn't sound new to you. Okay? But I'm showing you different ways to approach this. And the reason why I'm going over this is because I'm going to trade this, okay? And I want you to be able to see it. Now, let's talk about the aggressive strategy. PMZ's on here. This is easy to me because there is no thinking involved here. I mean, there is, but there's not a whole lot of thinking. Candles, let's say it starts out in the neutral. It's only been 2 minutes into the day, maybe even 30 seconds, who knows. As soon as it breaks here, I'm long. I'm not thinking about anything except for the most important thing, which is the distance between here and here, which defines your risk. if the risk for me is less than 5, I'm going aggressive. That means I'm just taking the trade, okay? And I'm gonna take it as soon as it breaks here, and the thoughts in my head is that as soon as it breaks here, I'm wanting prices to move to the upside. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes as soon as it breaks, I take the trade, and I could get something that ends up looking like this. Voomp! Stop out. You're stopped out. Is this a shocker, though? I mean, is it? It shouldn't be, because you've already assessed what the risk was, and you understand that you're not perfect, and sometimes we lose. What I don't want to happen in here is that you're afraid to lose. That's a problem, believe it or not, guys. Being afraid to lose is not going to make you a better trader. It's going to make you a worse trader because you're always scared of losing. But here's the thing, I don't know if you're going to lose or if you're going to win. We're just simply taking a process and we're making those trades and executions based on whether or not we think the risk is a lot. In this case, I don't think it's a lot. I've already done the math. I know how much I can lose. Steve says it is a problem for me. 100%. I guarantee you more than half the people in here have a problem with losing, right? I would hope so. I mean, nobody likes to lose money. But the issue is if we perseverate and we overthink this, we're never going to take most of the shots that will end up paying us money. All right. So again, please concentrate on your risk. Risk is really, really important. All right. Losing is just a part of what we do, believe it or not. Okay. Losing sucks. I get it. All right. So on the downside, same thing. Aggressive. As soon as it breaks, I'm going short. Boom. Price goes down. I'm making money. Cool. Price goes against me. I lost 5 points. So what? Move on. Then we take the next setup. Okay. So let's see what we have this morning and let's see what's going on. All right. So I'm going to open this up a little bit right here. Now we've already had some other entries here. This is the latest entry. I have this on a 1-minute chart. So what happens when we have a lower time frame is we get more signals. Okay. The lower we go in time frame, the more signals we have. Some people consider this noise, right? They're like, well, I'm going to increase my time frame so that I don't have as many signals. That's okay. I get like that sometimes as well. I'm like, man, it's a choppy day. You know, I got this thing on a 1 minute, a 3 minute, something like that. It's just too many signals. I got to take a break. So I'll go to a higher time frame. Now, in volatility, when the volatility is high, I tend to go to a smaller time frame, especially when we get to a level. So let me show you how we use these. Okay, so I'm going to pause the screen for a minute. See how we came into this yellow zone right here, guys? Everybody see that? Everybody see how we came into this lower one here? Everybody see that? So what we do, what I do, is I'm looking over here on a smaller time frame. Guess what? SPX room, I need your participation. Everybody in here should know Melissa's strategy on confirmation. Can I get a yes? If there's any no's, please say that as well. So in the SPX room, I'm only talking to you guys. Everybody knows what Melissa's confirmation is, right? I would say 98% of you guys have taken the class, and even the trendy room, I'm sure many of you have. And you guys all love that confirmation process, right? So that's what's happening over here on our beta indicator. Okay. Notice that we come down into a automated zone. And then what I want you to do, what I'm doing, is I'm looking at these candles, whether you're on a 1 minute, a 2 minute, a 3 minute, that's up to you. Okay. I'm on a faster signal right now on 1 minute. And what I'm looking for is her confirmation to tell me if I want to go long out of this yellow zone over here. Okay. So for example, You know, I could see right here, higher lows, we get over that body. I would have been long there. Stops would have been under here. I would have not been stopped out, and I would have made a bunch of money from that yellow zone. Everybody got that? Any questions about that? Do you understand that? I could have done that with SPX. I could do that with ES futures. I could do it with micro futures. I could do it with whatever. Now, here's the thing as well, okay? We just started the new 4-hour candle, so it looks different, but it was coming out of the yellow zone. Here's the other thing that I want to make sure I'm clear about, okay? When it comes down to a zone, I can use Melissa's confirmation process, or I can just take the trade, okay, without waiting for confirmation. And the reason why I would do that is because the distance between the top and the bottom of the zone falls within my risk tolerance. Okay. So, for example, let's say right before the open, price comes back down to this purple zone. Okay. That purple zone, if I look here, I can take my cursor and I could go 75.88 by 75.86. Guys, this is 2 points. Let's just call it 3. That falls within my risk tolerance. For me to wait for confirmation in that area on a 1-minute chart is going to take me a few minutes. By the time, in most cases, by the time it shows me confirmation, I could have just taken my trade from the zone itself. If I'm wrong and take it aggressive, I lose 2 to 3 points. Okay. Even if I wait here, there's still a possibility I could get stopped out. I'm going to lose 2 or 3 points. Okay. So again, we have 2 different ways of entering this trade. Neither one is right or wrong. You just need to be okay with losing sometimes. And before I left, I thought about this a lot. There's a lot of traders not taking trades because they're overthinking things. At the end of the day, what I want you to be able to do is take the information and go, am I going to be pissed off if I get stopped out here? Or is this going to hurt me? Am I going to be able to move on? Can I take the next trade set up? And I hope you can. But we are arming you, Melissa and I, with great information to decide whether or not you want to take that long or short. For example, on my screen here, you could see that the entry was 75.94. The risk was only 1 point. That's pretty crazy. You actually did not get stopped out in this, and you are currently up 6 points from this entry. So, Mary Jane, you say you love it. This is the same thing right here. I waited for a zone. I look for my entry. Boom, I make some money. Okay. So again, Mel and I are using these, and these are beta, meaning her and I are, trading these. We'll talk about them every once in a while, and they will be available at some point in the future. Okay. But I want to make sure you guys understand them and what's going on and how I trade them and so forth. Now, I'm going to be very upfront with you. There are so many times that I don't give a crap what's in front of me. I don't care if it's a supply zone. I don't care if it's an automated target. All I'm looking at is the risk. And I've said this to Mel, I've said this to everybody in here. This is what I'm concentrated on a lot of times, is that risk. And I'm like, I don't know, it's a confirmation process. It's only got 1 point of risk. Hell yeah, I'm taking the trade. That's just me. You don't have to do that. But I'm just being real with you. Okay. So as we open up here this morning, one thing is kind of looking like what's going to happen is at these 4-hour zones, we might find ourselves up here towards the resistance, if you will, on the open for today. Okay. Anyways, this iron fly that I put on with the ES futures is looking pretty good right now. We're just hanging around that 7,600 level. Now, I don't want to sit here and tell you we're going to sit around the 7,600 level all day, because then you'll be afraid to execute. So what I do want to say is like, look at your risk, assess everything before you take that trade. Okay. I think you guys know that. All right. I have some liquidity chop levels on my ES futures. They're pretty wide. I'm going to most likely move these up a little bit. So I'm going to come up to the top of that purple zone. Okay, that's going to be 75.88. And I'm going to take the liquidity chop and I'm actually going to move that into this zone here. Okay, so I'm just taking these zones and I'm placing my liquidity chop. Same thing here. I'm going to go ahead and move this down to right there. And I'm going to take this liquidity chop. And for this one, I'm going to move right underneath this inside and up formation right there. And that's what I have on the NASDAQ. Okay. So I've went over the ES, the middle chart, and over here on the right-hand side is the NASDAQ. If you want to trade that, there's no need for me to go over. It's all the same. You know, we got entries or we don't have entries. All right. Other than that, on my BMA, and hopefully you guys watch the broad market analysis. The broad market analysis, I went over NVIDIA in depth. That's kind of like the name I've been trading around quite a bit in the last several weeks. And it's sitting at 208, so almost down $3 from where it closed on Friday. I really don't need to go over that. I will most likely be looking to buy some more calls in NVIDIA if we get down into a zone or something like that today, okay? The next thing that I would say to concentrate on would be the trade flash that is free in Thinkorswim. And you may use something different because you use a different platform or something like that. But the trade flash here, you guys can see these are all the things that are popping up this morning that may be of importance to you. And you can see we go across here and like MGM is looking pretty good this morning. SpaceX is down again, pre-market lows down 1.5%. This may be something you might want to look at. So for example, SpaceX, let's go ahead and take a look at it. And it should be in a buy zone that was based off of just basically imbalance in the market when I first started SpaceX looking at it. And so we'll get over here to the weekly. And you guys can see that it came down into that buy zone. Okay. So it's inside and down. And this area is actually really important, guys. And I have an alert here. So I did what we call a fib extension, and this is pretty common on IPOs. Usually IPOs look way better than this on the open, but it's a Elon Musk name. And quite frankly, as much as I love my Tesla, I just don't like this guy's stocks. I just don't. They suck, and they just have a hard time trending. And when they do trend, they tend to pull back. It just people, you know, I don't know. They just don't like his stocks, man. And so this doesn't surprise me. And it gets pulled back here. And this extension target to the downside is really common when we take out the lows of an IPO. We will typically see the 23.6 to 38.2. Just like if we were at an all-time high, we tend to push up to the 23.6 and the 38.2. So where I'm interested is around the 132 down to 121 level. Okay, 132 to 121 level. I'm not saying it will get there, but if it does, this is where you might see me actually take a trade in the room and alert you guys. Okay, so this would be an extension, probably flush some people out that bought here at the top. And this would be an area I'd be interested in. Okay.
Hey, Jay.
Hey, what's up?
John. Hey. Oh, same old, same old. Um, the SpaceX IPO opened at 135, FYI, so
Okay,
that's a low on the 4-hour. But also,
gotcha.
I wanted to remind you that we will be going into the MTT room in 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Oh man. So yeah, guys, we just, you know, I'm trying to think. I was really happy when I found out that Mel is still here until Thursday. I kind of had some brain farts while I was gone. Uh, Taking a cruise into Alaska, there's a couple things. The sun doesn't go down,
Yep.
and I feel like I was in a whole different world. We would wake up on the ship, and we were like, "Okay, it's time to get up." It was like 3 o'clock in the morning,
Mm.
and it's like daytime outside. And yeah, so days were really long. And even though at one point we were
Well,
three
yeah, like
hours,
23 hours long.
yeah, yeah. And so our sleep schedules got kind of messed up. And when I came back, I was like, gosh, man, I wish Mel was here just a little bit longer. And then she reminded me, oh, she's not taking off until, towards the end of this week.
Yeah, but
So
guess what, dude?
what?
I didn't
What?
know did you know that you have to have visas to travel to the UK? US
Mm,
citizens have to have visas now to
oh
travel to the
wow.
UK.
Okay.
So, my husband texts me at, like, I don't know what time last night, was like, we gotta apply for visas for the UK," and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Uh-huh. Oh wow. I don't think I knew that.
So,
But I
we
mean,
had to do some kinda expedited service. It was like $170 a piece.
maybe, I mean, I don't know. So we went to Italy last year. I wonder if we
Nope,
had visa.
Italy isn't no, the
Okay.
EU isn't included,
Okay.
just
Just England.
uh-huh,
Interesting.
mhm.
Okay,
But,
good.
yeah, no, yeah. It's been I am not gonna lie, John, I had probably one of my absolute worst weeks, of my recent life,
Mhm.
when my dog died. That was horrible, dude.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just I gosh, it
I
was
know.
horrible, dude.
I know. I'm so sorry about that. Ugh, we talked about it in the background, but it's so hard. It's so difficult. And then to
I was
think you
like,
were
"Dude, that
here.
thing's almost slept in my bed half the time I've slept in the bed with my husband." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
No, yeah, I
But
do.
no,
And
it was a horrible week. Golly, man.
man,
Ugh.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's so hard. That is for sure.
I definitely no more dogs for me. I don't know how you do it. I do not know how you did it because the thought of doing this over again, I can't.
Yeah, well, I've questioned my sanity a couple times with all three of the animals that we bought right afterwards, and but I'm sitting here looking at them this morning, and I try to remember just how sad, it was sad to say goodbye to Aspen and Parker, and then I'm looking at these they are silly. If you ever get to meet them, they just are silly dogs. I call them dumb and dumber. They really are.
Oh,
But I'm like, instead of getting mad at them, I'm like, okay, you guys have short years, especially the Bernice. But I think the Aussie will be around for a while. I'm sure he's small and stuff. But yeah, I don't know how I do it either. Yeah, the whole trip I was gone, Chloe kept texting us, going. She was a really good sport about it. She would laugh about it, but she was like, "These dogs are nuts." She's like, "They ate the controller." We're like, "That's the fifth one." They did
jeez.
this, they did that. The cat threw up everywhere. It just was like, it was nonstop. So
And you were like, "Yeah, that happens every day."
yeah, I was like, "Yep, that's what we deal with." And yeah, so exactly. But
Man,
so
so the
how
girls
how
and
was the
I
market?
dude, so we got good buys out of buy zones, right? And but John, like 8 weeks, the market has moved from high to low 300 points in 8
Mhm.
weeks. Not 1 week, not for 2 weeks, not for 3 weeks have we been stuck in a range. Like literally 8 weeks. It's
Yeah.
insane. It's like we had remember we were all talking like it was like 9 weeks up and it had never happened and it was we were trying to break
Mhm.
records that it's so many
Right.
consecutive days and all that. And then nothing. Like
Mm.
we're stuck like Chuck.
Mhm.
But, yeah, yeah. I do fly home, um, fly from New York today, so I'm gonna, have to leave. I'm gonna have to take my charts down and leave, um, for Newark Airport at, 3 o'clock today, so an hour before the market closes.
Oh, where are you?
I'm in New York City, man.
Oh, awesome. Girl, I need to get like I mean, honestly, I need to get like you and be able to get on my laptop. I mean, that was a thing for me like back in the day, and now I'm just like so out of it, you know? I need to get in practice though, because honestly, really starting to enjoy my vacations and you do it so well, you know? The last time I used a laptop, Mel, was when
Mhm.
you and I went to New York.
Dude, that was like 4 years 3 years
I
ago, I
know.
think.
I know. Yeah.
Wow, it was cold, so probably 3.5 years ago. Wow.
Right.
No, so I just have a little setup that gives me, a total of 3 monitors. It's hard, I'm not gonna lie, but,
Mhm. Can you take a
I
picture for me though and send me the
yeah.
text? Like, I would love to see what it looks like so I can just kind of, get in the right mindset and have the same thing so that if we go anywhere.
Well, the good thing is I was only here Friday and today, so that I had to, work, you know? I
Mhm.
wouldn't wanna do this, like, full time. There you go, I sent
Yeah.
it to you.
Yeah.
But going from 6 to 3 monitors is, a
It's
little different,
yeah.
but it can be done, and, I needed to get because we do a trip where the kids get to see their aunt, my daughter, um, once a summer,
Mhm.
and, so this is when this trip happened. And I'm glad I only did it from Thursday to Monday because my husband's like, well, why don't you stay the whole week and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. It's right before our vacation. I don't want to do that. I'm glad I didn't because, dude, it would be too much. Like
Mhm.
I'm ready to be home right now, like this
Mhm.
moment, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
An 11-year-old and a 7-year-old that are bickering nonstop. I wanna, like yeah, mm. I
Oh,
have to
man.
remind myself that I'm the grandparent and not the parent sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah, that's hard to do. 'Cause, I
Yeah.
mean, I was like that with Eli, I felt like the
Yeah,
dad.
I want to be able to remain the grandparent, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
But
for sure.
it's hard when you have, when they're with you, like they've been with me since Thursday and it's me that's their
Mhm.
boss right now, right? And
Right.
so and they're testing their boundaries and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, like get me home." Like last night they were arguing who's going to sleep next to me and it's like 10:30 at night and I wanted to like tell them both like get on the floor and no one's sleeping next to me. I don't want to be touched.
That's funny. Mm. Well, so I got my screen going over in MTT room, but I have a counter on.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna heat up my coffee real quick, and then we'll jump on here in a minute.
All right, and I'm just
Alright.
going to let you share
Okay.
your screen, John, because I
Alright.
think it's too confusing
Yeah, no,
if
I think
there's
so too.
multiple.
The only thing I would say is if for some reason, like, your SPX setup, just say, "Hey, we're at the zone."
Yeah.
Obviously, you know what to
Yep.
do, but I would say I'll start off with the futures, go through all that good stuff, and then I was thinking maybe the last 30 minutes. So 30 minutes do regular trading, and then 30 minutes maybe open up the room to any kind of chart request or something like that, you know? And then if we have a setup during the chart request, we can take a trade or whatever. So, I'll be right back.
I
All right, guys, let's go ahead and do a quick test here in the MTT room. So we just got finished with our starting, which, every morning, Mel and I, we have schedules where we kind of rotate and we come in at 7 o'clock Central Time and get started 90 minutes before the market opens. All right. And it's really important because we go through these blueprints that you guys can see on the chart here. We like to start off with futures in the morning and SPX. So my whole goal is to make money within the first 30 minutes to 90 minutes, and honestly, that could be the first 3 minutes or so to 90 minutes. And then what I would like to do with you all here this morning is trade some futures. And for the MTT room, for those who are up this morning, if any of you are not, and I highly encourage the trendy room and the SPX room to get futures access because it is really beneficial to your trading. Okay. You can trade 6 days a week. We can trade options in a lot of these instruments. We can trade straight up futures, and there are ways to protect your account in the event. Let's say that a lot of you guys are net long. Let's say that we're coming up to a supply zone after market, and you're kind of stuck there going, damn, I wish I would have bought some sort of, hedge, right? Well, you can jump into the futures and you can hedge your account. And I think it's really, really important to your overall success in trading to have some sort of futures account. Okay. And we like to teach options in futures or just straight up futures trading. It's all really, really fun. And my goal every single day is to make money in the first 30 to 90 minutes. Once I'm finished with that, we'll open up the room to, discussing any charts that you guys may want to see. So please just have your questions for Mel and I when we get to that point. But the first thing I want to go over with, and again, Trendy Room, SPX Room, I just spent several minutes going over this. I'm gonna make this really quick. I'm gonna go over this screen with you all one by one and let you know what's going on here. So on the left-hand side, this is the ES futures. You'll notice that I have the ultra squeeze down here at the lower portion of this chart. And then I have what's called automated zones. These are a beta indicator that Melissa and I have had on our screens for several months now. And it's pretty straightforward. This is where I'm looking for buyers. This is where I'm looking for sellers. This was the golden pocket this morning. We came up. We're breaking down from that, but we'll talk all about this once we open up. Okay. Now, this is a 5-minute chart over here. All right. Now, in the middle, right here, where the blue section is going to be, right here, this is a 1-minute chart. And I'm looking for signals. I'm looking for confirmation that Mel has taught. I'm looking for a couple things in this area. Okay, and I'll talk through those as well. So basically, the reason why I have it on a 1 minute is because I get a faster signal. But what I'm doing is I'm using zones and I'm using levels, trendy edges, buy and sell zones, Fibonacci, all that fun stuff over here on the left hand side. Okay. And when price gets there, for example, let's say that price moves down into that purple zone right here on the open, then I'm going to look over here on the 1 minute and I'm going to be looking for certain things to get me long or short. Okay. Over on the right hand side, this is the NASDAQ futures, and it's the same. It's just a 5-minute chart and it has some levels on it, and I'm waiting to take trades off of those levels. All right. On the lower portion of this is what we call the active trader. And this is where I take most of my trades from. Like if I'm sitting in front of a computer, you can bet you that I am using what's an active trader, whether it's on futures, whether it's on options, or whether it's on equity. I'm getting in and out of my trades using this section right here. And this makes it really straightforward for me. Okay. In and out, very quick and easy. Okay. All right. So that is what we have going on here. Now you're going to notice that I have the micros in here. And I like to teach from the micros, even though I trade the minis as well. I like to teach from here because I'm always under the assumption, in an environment where I'm teaching students, is I want to be careful. All right. And so we always start with the micros, if you will. All right. So the micros for each point on the MES is only $5 of risk. So if we have a stop of 5 points, we're going to lose $25. All right. Maybe there's some slippage, maybe not, but that's where we're going to start with this morning. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this thing set up right here. It's going to look like this. And we're going to be right there. And then we only have about 3 minutes to open. So again, good morning, everybody. I'm coming back from Alaska, Seattle, been gone for 2 weeks. So if I'm slow or if I'm kind of sound like I'm dragging or anything, I'm still going to be excited and bring the hype. But at the same time, I may forget a couple things and apologize. I still might be on Seattle time or something. I'm not too sure.
Ah, you'll be good, man. You're always good.
Thanks,
Looks
Mel.
like
Thanks.
ES is gonna open above the PMZ potentially or right at it. So
Hmm.
aggressive traders might get an opportunity right off the jump. I'm watching NASDAQ though. You notice it's right at the bottom of its PMZ. So
Hmm. Yeah. So right over here,
interesting
guys.
there.
Right over here. So let me point that out for anyone that's new. When she said the PMZ, this little section here on the ES futures, we're above it, but she's watching the NASDAQ futures because this PMZ right here, we're kind of towards the bottom. All right. So a lot of times the NASDAQ's kind of like that canary in the coal mine, right? It's going to let us know if it can make it through or not. So we're going to be concentrating on both of these sort of at the same time, if you will.
Right, but the good thing is for, NASDAQ traders and those bullish the NASDAQs, you do have immediate support below the PMZ, just like you do on the ES, but, you notice the pink zone down there, guys, that's your immediate buy zone, so even at the what I would say, John, sorry, is those of you that if you were to aggressively short the PMZs on NASDAQ or ES, you need to be aware that you do have the immediate support right below the PMZs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You do. Exactly. Those purple boxes. So right underneath the PMZ, you got support right there, guys. That is correct. Shepard, you can waste your lives drawing lines or you can live your life crossing them. So yeah, that's kind of when I read that, Shepard, to me it's like we could put a bunch of lines or we can have levels on our charts and you could just look at them or you can execute them, right? That's how I look at that. So let's execute some levels. See what happens here. All right, so let's walk through the first 5 minutes. So this is an aggressive approach from the PMZ. As Mel said, we're coming down into the ES futures PMZ. And see how you get that quick pop. And that was a pretty quick one. I mean, that candle was pretty aggressive. But look at the NASDAQ coming into its purple zone. Buyers show up right away. Now we want to see some buyers here. We're going to give the open this morning. We're going to give it about 5 minutes, okay? Going to give it about 5 minutes. Let that 5-minute candle close first. Get an idea. I've been out of the loop for 2 weeks, but I do know that a couple times, Mel, we had some pretty aggressive days talking about those point spreads where we had some big moves during the day. Um, but look at that
Yeah,
purple zone. Boom, goes bid over here on NASDAQ. ES futures almost up into its first target.
yep, first target for sure
Nice.
for me, that upper monthly edge right there,
Hmm.
Jay. It's also a weekly edge mid, so and Nasdaq, unfortunately, is just really struggling. It's below its lower daily edge. I'd like to see the Nasdaq reclaim that lower daily edge and use it as support. So for me, I would be looking at the Nasdaq to get above the PMZ, but also above the lower daily edge and use
Hmm.
that as support. And like always, well, like a majority of the last 2 weeks, John, the Dow is dragging the
Mm.
ES, to the upside.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And you're getting ready, guys, if you're long, from the PMZ, you're getting ready to hit that next target above. I believe you have a
Mhm.
zone up there, right, John?
I
Yeah.
do. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys can see there's a red zone here. I'll put a line on here. I'll just come a little bit before that. I thought I had a line on here. But another thing, MTT room, you guys can see on our beta indicator, we actually had an entry here. So if you wanted to take this trade on this 1 minute setup, you only had a point and a half of risk. It didn't even get stopped out. And you're already up from that 75.95, 10 points to the upside. So the aggressive strategy worked out really nicely here out of this area. And as Mel said, is getting very close to what I would consider your second target here. So that's 76.09 to 76.10. And this is where I would expect a little bit of resistance.
Yeah, just from a Fibonacci perspective, guys, if you take fibs and you run them on SPX from where SPX closed down to the low this morning, right at the top of the PMZ, SPX drawn at that second target for the ES pushed up to the 618, the golden Fibonacci level.
Oh, there's that small rejection. And I want to bring this up. I was going to trim while I was on the cruise, but I did not. Guys, I have the Microsoft that I put on 425s by 450s. These are up 45%, but we have another longer term trade than that. I might actually sell this one today, maybe a little bit later. Just going to point that out in the room, okay? And we could get about 420 for those right now. Surprise,
Speaking of
surprise.
420, your old
Uh-oh.
friend Tesla just keeps banging 420 and then falling down, man.
Nice.
It's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? I told you,
Yeah.
man. When he said
Yes.
that the price was secured at 420, he meant it was secured for the next 3 years. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous. So that's good. That's good, Richard. So JC called out Apple on Friday. That's cool. Did he alert it? Is there like a trade or something you guys are in? Apple's been strong, man. Nice, nice, good deal. Let's go. There it is. I see it. Buy one Apple, 17 July, 310 calls at $7. Nice,
17 July. Yeah. That's
nice.
really nice.
Yeah, that's this Friday. Awesome.
So they should be up really well, man. Really good. Apple got upgrades today.
So we just now closed the 5 minute candle. That might have felt like the longest candle of my life. That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah. So we got another entry here on a 1 minute signal with 2 points of risk, if you're interested. But again, still bumping up against this red zone. Looking at the NASDAQ, it's underneath the PMZ. So for aggressive traders, look at my right hand side over here. This is going to be aggressively. You can try and short this red zone. Conservative, I would wait for the candle to close. Okay. We went over the process this morning. So you wait for this to close, price moves up. You're going to short here if you want to be aggressive, or conservative, wait for that 5 minute candle to close. Okay. And I mean, for all purposes, Mel, I mean, from the
Mhm.
PMZ up to basically 76.09, 76.10, that morning trade played out. So
Yeah,
now,
absolutely. You
yeah.
went from your shorter term buy zone and the
Mhm,
PMZ up to your sell zone. So that's a zone to zone trade, what we
yeah.
call a zone to zone trade. And I mean, it was a good trade. It's 17 and a half, 18 points in
Mhm.
5 minutes. So not bad at all there. You just had to be really quick on the jump there at the bell. Or, of course, like you say, already in futures long off of the couple of entries that pre-market provided. John, Nasdaq's come down into a potential buy zone for me.
Okay.
At a zone at 29,631 and a half. And you're getting a pop. So 29,631 and a half would be the buy. And then because the PMZ guys is resistance here, I would say that that's your first target. And this 5-minute candle actually played out within a point or two of that first target. That's another thing I'll say, John. While you were gone, the
Mhm.
moves were very fast.
Mm,
So
mhm.
for your entry, so the aggressive trades that I had on that were like hybrid approach, like half allocation, then the other half
Mhm.
waiting for confirmation. The aggressive ones got filled, but you had to have your sell in right away also because it was very fast moves. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. And right here, guys, I got a confirmation for a short. If you like the idea, entry be at 76.05, stop at 3.5 points on the ES futures. Now, what I'm doing is I'm staying patient, waiting to see if we can get a pullback into the PMZ. Okay. SpaceX lows, Kevin O. I went over that chart setup this morning. If you're interested, I'm actually looking for SpaceX to come into. I would like for it to come in 132 to 120. Okay, 132 to 120. All right, let's see. I sold some credit on Nvidia on Friday. Where are those things at? 210. Real time.
Your naked calls? Is
Yeah,
that yeah.
yeah. But I think Nvidia is just gonna have a small pullback today. I don't think it's gonna be huge. Man, Apple up 670 now, guys. Nice
Yeah,
for
I
you.
know. Apple's moving, moving, moving.
Man, I was looking at all the equity trades that we've put on over the last, I don't know, time that I have in my Robinhood account. There's so many of them that are doing amazing. Apple is one of them. Apple is one of them. Let's
Yeah,
see.
the girls and I actually spent the plane ride going over their trades that they or current positions that they own.
Hmm.
And I was like, and you own Apple from $65 a share, and you own Google from $85 a share. And they're like, what? Can we
Nice.
sell it? And I'm like, no, not until you're old.
Right. That's funny. So I just looked at my Apple equity. I'm actually shocked. I mean, I only got it last year or this year on the dip. I can't remember, but it's up 62%. That's
Yeah,
not
no,
bad.
it's great.
Crazy. So
All right.
we are coming back as expected from this area. If you did take the short up here, it's looking pretty good.
Uh, can I mention
Yep,
something,
yep.
John?
Mhm.
ES at your imbalance candle right there, you have not just a 15-minute EMA, but also VWAP lined up at that imbalance, and that is slightly above the PMC.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna
About
try
3
to.
points above. Boom, it just bounced off there, dude, instantly. It was a perfect hit.
Yeah, and this it's funny because with the volatility, you're gonna get some weird entries on your futures, guys. So just be careful if you do decide to take a trade. Okay.
Yeah, so that little thing that you just saw right there, right, John? It came down to a confluence of the VWAP, the 15-minute EMA, and the imbalance candle just
Mhm.
above the PMZ, and it bounced that 5 or 6 points instantly.
Nice.
That's kind of the moves we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks. They happen very fast. So you definitely any indecision costs you an entry and it costs you a sell.
Mm.
Stevie B, good morning, my friend. Good
Good
to
morning,
see
good
you.
morning.
NASDAQ coming down into the next level of support here in this buy zone for me, 29,542. The bottom of the zone, I would I have it set at 29,500.
Yeah, you guys that are coming in with that Apple trades, vacation time, you already made your money, right? This is the part where you always wonder how many people slept in today, have no idea their Apple's up that much. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Choose love. I like that mustache, John. Love it.
I don't know if you missed it, John, but my niece was deployed.
Oh, really? Okay. I did miss
Very,
that.
very secretive where she's at, but I do know
Mm,
it is in the Middle East and active, very, very
mm.
active, dangerous situation right now. So, yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to send her a box. That was one of my favorite thing when I was deployed. Is
Oh, really?
oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. No, that's cool.
yeah.
Well, we don't have an address. I don't know how that works, but right now, wherever she's at, we don't know.
Mm,
I don't know how that works. You would know, obviously, or anybody else that's been in covert operations would know.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I always liked getting boxes from people, even if they have organizations that will send you boxes,
Mhm.
and it would be like of things that you can't get in where you go,
Right.
always fun to open.
Yeah, just thinking of my niece, she'd probably ask for things like microwavable macaroni and cheese and stuff. Ramen noodles.
Awesome. That's funny. That's right, Robert. Yep.
Oh, so you just send it to a general location or something?
Mm.
Got it.
I was trying to see if we could get a quick spike back up here towards the 76, 7 to 76.10 out of here. So
So on that, that confluence there on that drop, that's the one you're trying to get, John?
that's
Oh,
right.
I see. I see your entry was at 7,600 there.
Yeah,
So
these candles are fast. Look at
that's
that.
what I'm telling you, dude.
Mm.
No lie. Like super duper fast. Yeah, without a doubt. Almost back to the PMZ here, guys. PMZ is a buy zone till proven otherwise. So if price pulls back to the top of the PMZ and you're looking to go long, that would be your trigger. The Dow right now is pulling back to the line in the sand and the upper daily edge. You got a big imbalance candle on the Dow, guys. Those of you that like to trade the YM at 52,910, and the 15-minute 8 EMA lines up perfectly there. So that's a great Dow entry if you're interested. But everything, John, all ES, NASDAQ, and Dow all coming into support right here.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll get that little breakout here, guys. Maybe that means your Apple will go up like $12 today. Let's see, what's Apple at right now? 7?
So
Hell
yeah, it's at
yeah. I mean,
7.
especially if everybody gets together and gets some synergy here, we might get a really nice breakout, but no
Uh,
promises. Let's just see.
if anyone went long off of that confluence of support, you did hit first target for me. That's the ES upper monthly edge at 76.01.
This thing's really respecting these 5-minute inside and down right here, right
Yeah,
there.
that lines up with your upper monthly edge and weekly
Mhm.
edge mid. The
Yeah.
NASDAQ continues to make lower lows in the buy zone. And the last 15 minutes worth of candles on ES, they're making lower lows and lower highs as well, John.
Darren said your package needs peanut butter and beef jerky. There you go. All right, come on. Just need, if we can get over 76.03, we should be able to break out here. So that's kind of like that line in the sand. See that automated target that I have right here, guys? There's this white line. This is part of the trendy indicators. This is an automated target. And if we can get above that, then we should have a about a 90% probability that we'll hit my target up here. So I'm gonna heat up my coffee just real fast. I do this every morning. I apologize, but I'll talk for about 20 minutes and then I forget to drink my coffee, and it's cold already. So I'll be right back.
Boy, if anyone caught that move off of the PMZ, guys, price didn't quite hit the PMZ, but it came very, very close, and you did get about a 6-point bounce there. The upper edge on the SPX chart for SPX traders, that's what I scalp trade as SPX. 75.60 would be the next target, but we got to get up and above the current resistance area on ES. Jasper, you took it because I was talking about all the support. Yeah, it was all lined up, right? It was all lined up together. That's why I took it as well with the NASDAQ, the Dow both coming into support all at the same time. I went long and I've taken that quick, easy 5 or 6 points. Now I have a break even stop in.
Nice. Nice. Let's go. Come on. Now, I was asking in the MTT room if JC was in here. I think somebody had said that he alerted it. Sorry, I wasn't asking that. I was just wondering if he was in here this morning. Wasn't sure. Nice, nice. Nice, man. 1365. Wow. Up 780. I mean, possibly if we get up over 7603, you'll see that thing take off even more, but that's a nice push, man. That's one of those alerts I didn't see for some reason. All good though. Dow Jones up 100. Who else is cooking this morning? How's Microsoft doing? Microsoft's up only $1. Netflix up almost $2. They got earnings this week. Super excited about that. Like to see if these guys can get their stuff together. Tesla down 13. Holy moly. UNH also reporting this week up about $4.70, and there goes the ES futures down. All right,
Yeah,
well, we're in the PMZ.
I got break even stopped out. I just caught a quick 6 points, guys, with when everything was at support.
Well, let's see what happens here. So I want to make sure that I reiterate all the lessons I went over this morning. So this is what we'd be waiting for. A close of the 5-minute would be a conservative. Okay. So we're at the PMZ. We're waiting for a candle to close in here, or you could take this aggressive on that push down here. Now, this morning, we talked about not, you don't have to be touching it. If it got within a certain distance of that PMZ, you could go long, which we did get the nice little pop out of there. But now I'm going to teach from the conservative strategy. Okay. So we are in the PMZ. We are at 8:52. So that means that this 5-minute candle is not going to close for about another 3 minutes. Okay. So if you're aggressively taking this, then you're wanting it to pop, which it's doing a little bit. But just understand at this moment, I'm waiting for this candle to close. Okay. Now you look on my right hand side over here on the NASDAQ, very close to this 29,500. And also, I think an area, Mel, you had mentioned where you already have some sort of support in that area, correct? You're
So
still,
the bottom
still
of
in that
my
area?
zone,
Uh-huh.
yeah, the bottom of my zone is at 29,500.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, we came down very close to testing it already,
Mm-hmm.
right? You got a weekly edge there, John. That's why that's the bottom of my zone and probably why it's on your chart as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the zone that on Friday, I believe, maybe Thursday or Friday, we pulled into there and got the really nice rally off of.
Mm.
So it's not a fresh zone, but nonetheless, it is where we found buyers. That's where buyers were willing to step in last week.
And so far, nice pop out of there. So
Yeah.
again, aggressive entry on the PMZ, paying off for a couple points there. We have 5, 10, 50, 20, 25 minutes, 5-minute candles down on the NASDAQ. So some sort of relief here would be nice, and that would be the form of a higher low, which
Mhm.
we have not received.
Mm-mm. No,
So if
since
we see
it
that,
opened.
yeah, since it opened. So if we see a higher low, that could be the start of something pretty here in the NASDAQ. So just keep your eyes out. Look
And
at those wicks, Mel.
yeah, the Dow, John,
Mhm.
on the other side of the coin, right? The Dow is making higher highs on the day. And the sell zone for me on the Dow is 53,154. So it is within about 70 points of the sell zone, 53,154.
Sorry, I'm answering or just making a comment here to you, Robert. Um, I said, wow, really? With the new PDT thing being slashed? Who would have thought that retail traders would be extra long right now? Right? It's like they probably lost their, God, man, I can't even imagine. Right?
Mm,
So nice move from the PMZ, though. Holy moly. Nice.
yep, got 10 points there.
Yeah. Woo.
But we're back at that area, John, the upper monthly edge, inside and down on ES. Good news is NASDAQ finding
Higher
support
low.
towards the bottom of the zone right here.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Nice pop on Apple while the indexes are heavy, booking the gains here. Nice trade, JC. All right, guys. So this would be the start. I don't want to jinx us. We still have several minutes left here, about 8:56. We make a higher low so far on the Nasdaq. This would be the time if we weren't in the MTT room that I'd be going
Mhm.
down to my dock. Seriously. So I mean, usually this is where I'd walk away, go sit on the dock for about 5 or 10 minutes, and see if we get a rally back up here.
Aggressive traders off of the PMZ, you did make it to your first target. So that at first target, we like to take some profits and then move our stops up. Next target on ES, I believe, for John as well as myself is 76.10.
All right, higher low, still 3 minutes to go. Now, this is where, like, I'm seeing signs from the Nasdaq, right? So typically, what I would do is probably drop the time frame here. And Mel, I'd probably do your favorite, which is the 3 on the confirmation process, just to see, are we going to get that and see that higher low right there? Sorry, let me get back over here, guys. And finally, wow, okay. There it is, right there. Boop. So it would have been right there. That would have been your entry, 29,546. Let's go. We're almost there.
Beautiful.
Anybody get long from down there? Look at that PMZ though, works out so nice, man. And on that, I was curious to see. Yeah, this is kind of how it's been going. So Apple was up like 8 something. We could probably say it's probably JC. He probably had like 500 contracts, and now it's at 570. But one thing I have noticed this year is Apple, when the market starts to finally bid and move up, it's like, it starts to come down a little bit. Sorry, the market itself. There we go. All right, guys, we're reaching target
Nice
here.
pop.
So we can go
Nice
ahead
pop.
and close or pull your stops up. All right, and I'm just going to
There you go.
flatten. So whether you're in the ES minis or the micros, that was a nice little hold there.
Yep. You got your quick 8 points there, John.
Yeah. You just had to be patient this morning. DFlam, what is the PMZ technically speaking? It's the premarital zone. Take it for a date. Just kidding. It's called the pre-market zone. And technically it is a time frame within the pre-market that identifies a buy and or sell zone, depending on how you're looking at it, where price is. And we look to go long inside of it when it's coming from up above. See how it pulled in, pushed back out. And if we're below it, we look for it to be resistance. Okay. And probably the only, so $37.50 in micros, $370 in the minis, just taking that one trade. Now, I would tell you the only thing that I didn't do that I would typically do was add in on the micros on that pullback into the PMZ. And it's okay that I didn't. I want to take a couple trades with you guys. And possibly I might get the entry for a short up here. We'll see. Not trying to sound bearish, guys. Just I'm saying if we get a setup, I might scalp it to the downside.
Yeah,
So
so
go ahead. Go ahead, Mel.
that makes complete sense because as you're saying that, just looking at the ES, the Nasdaq, and the Dow, all of them now are coming into resistance. So when they were all lined up at support and we went long, that was a great trade. But now they're all lining up at resistance.
Yeah, so the PMZ prints on a 5-minute and 1-minute, where they look good, but it's based off a 5-minute chart. So, and it's a certain time period within the pre-market. It's not the entire pre-market. That's what I can tell you on that. And we use this thing every single morning. I do. And
every
I
morning.
almost hit my goal every single morning just trading out of the PMZ. So, and of course zones. I mean, it's to me it's like one of the two. Either price gets to our zone and we take a trade, Mel, or price gets to the PMZ and I take a trade. And
Well,
it's
the
the same
PMZ is
rinse
a
and
zone.
repeat. Yeah, it is a zone. Exactly. It is. So there's our, so this is a, just so you guys know, on a 1-minute, this is a setup to go short, and the stop would be 5.5 points. I'm going to hold off because it's on a 1-minute chart. I'm going to hold off myself. But as Mel said, all three of these lined up to take a short here.
Well, yeah, but you're a day late and a dollar short if you're not already short, because now they're
Yeah.
all pulling back to support. I
Yeah.
mean, the trade happened and it was a 10-point trade.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the trade happened, but like all week or all last week at least, and the week before, really, you had to be there and you had to be ready and you had to execute, and
Mm-hmm.
then you take your profits at that first target, because right now the ES, it's not a place to go short. You're
Mm-hmm.
at the 15-minute EMA, you're at an imbalance area, you're at support
Mm-hmm. Yep.
at the same
Yep.
time the NASDAQ and the Dow is. That's what I'm talking, man, John. Like, so you see how quick that
Fast.
happened.
Yeah, that was fast. Yeah.
Okay, that's all week. That's how it has been happening, John.
Yeah.
Like, it
Yeah.
literally, I can't tell you the number. You can ask in the rooms, like the number of aggressive hybrid trades that I took
Mm-hmm.
was, you would have been like, "What? What are you
Yeah.
doing, Melissa?" You're usually more conservative than that, but that's how you had to take them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, super fast. So that's where um, Rick and everybody, that's why, I mean, but the levels are there before price gets there, right?
Yes.
And we went over this morning. We have two different ways we can take these trades. You can wait for confirmation or you can be aggressive. So for example, price came down the PMZ. You don't have to wait for confirmation. You can go long as long as you're okay with the risk between the two. And then like when it came up to our target, you saw that we got out of our long. At that point, if you wanted to go short, you could aggressively go short. Totally up to you. So it's good. It's good to have levels before price gets there. That is the big
Yes.
edge in what Melissa and I do, is that we're not at the last minute trying to come up with something. We actually covered these levels an hour and a half before the market opens. And if you watch my BMA this weekend, you guys already have the levels a day in advance, right? And you understand what we're looking for before price gets there. Okay. This
Right.
is kind of like a
So
micro look of it. So,
so with that being said, price just came back down into the EMA, back down into VWAP, back down into the imbalance candle. That's a place, even though it's above the PMZ, that if you wanted to get long aggressively, it's towards the bottom end of what has been a very choppy first 35 minutes. Let's be for real.
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
We've made no move in any direction. We made a move up, we made a move down, we made a move up, we're making a move down. That's where we're at. We're towards the bottom end of that chop. NASDAQ has a pretty nice looking, John, 5-minute imbalance candle down near 25 or 29,542.
Hmm.
I would like an entry, even if it's ES or SPX, SPY, something like that, if you don't like trading the Qs. Just for a quick scalp back up to the monthly edge mid, like 29,600. It's about 58 NASDAQ points there.
Mhm.
You see the area I'm talking about?
I do. Yep, right here. This was the original entry a little bit earlier on a 3 minute. So coming back down to that area.
Mhm.
Rick, you had mentioned the Kospi or however you want to pronounce it, but South Korea, I think is what you're talking about. So yeah, investors just, basically looking at their reactions to the same macro news about interest rates, tariffs, geopoliticals, all that stuff. But it's heavily weighted, right, towards the semiconductors and so forth. But yeah, I noticed that. But I bet you it's still moving from supply and demand levels.
Yeah, I don't remember what that ticker is, but it's like 5 letters long.
Yeah.
All right, could be coming back to the PMZ, and technically speaking, it's only there's only been one test of the PMZ, but we came close a couple of other times this morning. But we're definitely towards the bottom end of the choppy conditions that have been uh, this morning.
Hmm.
So that's an opportunity if you're looking for a place to go long that you could consider going long and just be okay with the risk. The risk would be for me the bottom end of chop and a 5 minute candle that would close below the bottom end of chop, which would be basically the bottom end of that PMC.
Hmm.
But if you go long, you got to know where you would also go short from, and that upper ME or 7600 psychological value on ES is your first area of resistance.
Nice little push off of there again.
Hmm. Yep, I just took a trim on that, by the way. And now I go back to break even stop.
This is fun, right, guys? I'm glad some of you guys had Apple because we're really stuck in a tight range here. But it is 9, it's almost 9:10, so we have 20 minutes left here. What I like to do instead of looking at these little baby moves here, and they're not baby moves, they're actually pretty strong. But is there any, I want to open this up to anyone here. Anybody want to get a trade plan on another name? Besides looking at the futures at the moment. Anybody interested in anything outside of that? Sorry, just got in. Can someone tell me the PMZ on the SPX, please? Robert was asking in the SPX room. Anybody want to talk about anything outside of these charts here? Oracle long. Okay, cool. Let me pull up Oracle just for a second. Actually, I'm going to place this over on top of this, and that's okay. Don't worry. I bet the market's not going to do a whole lot without us here. All right. But we're going to look at Oracle real quick. It's down $4.31. And as soon as something's down, my first thoughts are, is it coming into an area where we can look to go long? Right. So what I'm looking for is some sort of institutional order flow and so forth. So this candle came down. We were talking about imbalances a few minutes ago. This is a weekly, by the way. It's been out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. Holy crap. And here is some imbalance. Okay. So right in this area. And it's back to that area. And we're down 7 weeks. And if you go back and you look at the history of Oracle, it kind of likes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. So 7 weeks, this is kind of within its territory. It's kind of rude like that, right? So I would be looking for an entry actually on the long side in this area. But here's the thing, this would be, as Melissa would say, a hybrid approach for me or a starter. And I would not feel like I want to fully convict to this trade until it can get above my trendy edge, which is around 144. Okay. So yes, I would be okay with a starter here. I would pay attention to its earnings, which is in, it looks like not until September. Um, yeah. And you can see, so the previous moves have been coming out of this area here. Okay. Which makes sense. There's a lot of demand in this area and it's just coming back into that area. So this whole gray box is an area for a longer term, long trade for myself. Okay, so I like where it's at. I don't like that it keeps coming back here, but it is telling me that people like to buy Oracle in this general area, and it's
Yeah, look at
probably
that
why.
beautiful imbalance, dude.
Yeah, right here.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is a big move. So this is, I mean, this is where I'd probably start the trade, you know. All right, let's just double check. Okay, everything's looking good there. Sometimes when I want to get away, this is what I would tell you guys. I'm really interested if we get above on ES, above this zone, because that'd be the first time today, right? And I'm interested every time it comes back into the PMC.
I
Okay.
actually, John, I
Mhm.
have an aggressive approach every time that it comes back to SPX PMZ or
Okay.
ES PMZ, either
Okay.
one, and it's worked 1,
Right here.
2, 3 times so
Yeah.
far,
Yeah.
just going long.
Mhm.
So obviously, one of my fills was, or a couple of my fills were not an exact pullback, but it was close enough that it filled my order.
Nice. Yeah. And I mean, that's what I would do, guys. Every time it comes down here, look to go long. And as it gets up here, just take a little bit of caution. Okay. You can see that
Or
supply
look to
zone's
go
already there.
short
Yeah, or look to go short.
because as equal number of times it's worked to the upside, it's, well, I don't know. This is our third test to the upside.
Mhm.
So you got some other chart requests, John. SKHY. SKHY.
Yeah,
Uh,
and the question right before that,
yeah, NDX.
yeah, about NDX, you can 100% trade NDX off of our NASDAQ blueprint. So like our ES blueprint, we trade SPX, micros, ES options, ES minis. On the NASDAQ blueprint, you can trade the NDX, the NASDAQ, the MNQ, and the QQQs. Okay. Yeah. And let's see, SKHY. What's that stand for? Sky High. Is this a IPO?
I think that's that Korea thing, actually, John. Y'all
Thought I
correct
saw
me
that
if I'm
too.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, so it says SK Hynix IPO. Okay,
Oh.
SKHY. Yeah, if this is an IPO, then I would just use fibs, and I would, if you're bullish, I'd buy when it pulls back into this 157 by 155 area or the 154 by 153. And just use these Fibonacci's as a zone. So for example, let's say that you want to trade the 50 by 618. This is going to be your risk. Do the subtraction on this. All right. I would add to it probably $1 because these tend to be pretty volatile. And so if price came back down into this 50 by 618, I would go long here, stops underneath, and then I'm looking for it to bounce up like this. Okay. Now you can do the same thing between the 23.6 and the 38.2 if you want. Totally up to you. But that's how I would trade an IPO. All right. And let's see here, SNDK. And it really is that straightforward. Don't overthink it. It's more of a day trade. So, all right, SNDK, we pulled back, we flushed. Look where we came into right here, the inside and out formation that we teach right here as simpler trading. This is where we would go long. So I was gone, but this is the place where I would have went long out of this zone. and it's pushed up, holy moly, 200 bucks out of there so far. The first initial move was huge out of there. So SNDK, I would prefer looking at this time frame. Let's go to the daily. All right, let's look at the weekly edges. I would prefer to buy this between 16.15 by 15.35. So we have what's called a double stack. So these two areas right here is where I'd be looking to try and go long. All right.
Sorry, John. If
Yeah, no, go
anyone is
ahead.
short from the top of that chop, I've taken profits. Move your stop break even. Big pullback. Sorry.
Big pullback.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Let's see. SNDK, PWR. Let's look at PWR. And let's just do sort of a top-down approach. This guy's been down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks now, which, you know, around this time frame, I'm looking for some buyers to come in, but I want some sort of confirmation. We talk about imbalances a lot. Imbalances are not hard to identify. We just look for the bigger candles in the market. And this shows us that there was demand here. And notice we make a high, we have a topping wick that lets us know, uh-oh, be careful. Then we get a lower high. This really means be careful. Then we break down below that. And then we're going to stay short until we get to a level. Okay. And in this case, that level happens to be right here where we see imbalance in the market. Okay. So we wait for price to come back into here. So we want to create an alert, you know, and then a rainy day comes along and it's like, holy moly, we're back to there. I can't believe it. And then we start to pay attention because we're coming into earnings season. We want to look over here. And when I look at this, I notice that we have earnings in just less than 2 weeks. Okay. So the market, or sorry, PWR has been coming back over a month, and now it's come back to its imbalance area and it has earnings. Now, from this candle itself, if you're, you know, if you don't want to like micromanage, you could just draw a line at the top of this wick, draw a line down here with this candle formation, and you can see immediately that price comes back into this area, and this is where they find buyers. Okay. So we're there, and we have earnings 2 weeks out. So if you like PWR, I want you to, you know, first ask yourself, do you really want to trade it as it's this close? Do you want to do a run up into earnings? These are things I want you to think about. So from here, you know, you make that decision. Okay. Let's break it down in a little bit smaller time frame, and let's look for that orange circle, because most likely we're going to find something there, right? For example, this is what we call a triple inside and up. So if you were to fill in the gap here, this is where all that demand comes from, okay? So I'm just going to take this entire section, just right above it, right below it, and we should, right above it comes about right there. If I can click on it, sorry about that. What are you doing? There we go. Okay, cool. And so you can see that identifying this level gives us the same thing. So for PWR, this is actually a place, once again, that I would be looking at legging in on this trade. Okay. Now, I say leg in because it's underneath my monthly demand zone, but it's right at the weekly. I need to see it where I really start to feel better about PWR is if we can get above this purple line. I'm gonna go about right there. It's about 654. Okay. So this would be a leg in trade for me. And then I would feel convicted and start putting some size on over 654. Okay. I hope that helps you with PWI. Let's see. Shepard says US President Trump says that Strait is open and will remain open with or without. Are we still talking about that? That's crazy. All right. Great, Ruben.
Yes,
All right.
welcome to our world.
I'm sorry. I was in Alaska, which
I know you
JC,
were on vacation.
yeah, yeah. I mean, JC, I think you said you've been there several times, man. You loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was joking with the room a little bit earlier, man. The sun wouldn't go down. So I was really thrown off. Every time we looked out the window of the cruise, it was like daytime. So it felt like the longest 2 weeks of my life, but it was absolutely beautiful. It was definitely different than any other cruise I've done. Typically we're going to Caribbean or something like that. So definitely a different feel. But my favorite thing, I have to say, without, the scenery, all that was really, really cool. But my favorite part was actually I think BC, British Columbia, right? So the
Dude,
Vancouver
I told
Island,
you. Is
holy
that not the
moly.
most beautiful, like, oh my gosh. And I
Yeah,
bet Ashley loved it because I think Ashley really enjoys plants,
yeah, yeah. We
and
went to a bunch of
oh
gardens.
my gosh, it's
Mhm.
just the most beautiful flowers and the most I mean, just blooms everywhere.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. And we did a seaplane, guys. We did a seaplane. So we took off in a seaplane. Um, I sent Mel some of the footage. That was super cool. So if you've never flown in a seaplane, do it. I was
Dude,
just blown away.
I was watching the video and I can just hear you when you're playing your sim game. I like buckle your seat belts, we're coming in. Shit, I was like, oh, I bet John wishes he was flying that sucker.
That's what I was thinking the whole time. It was really neat. Yeah, the seaplane was amazing. So pumped up about that, that's for sure. Yeah, Butchart Gardens, exactly, Cedar. Yeah.
You had did you cover Dell, John? I didn't see
Oh,
if
I'm
you
sorry,
covered
Tampa
that.
Tony. Let's look at Dell real quick. See, I got off track there. It just was really cool though. All right, Dell is trading at 431. I measured this thing some time ago for some reason from this area, and it's still holding the 38.2, which is bullish. And the reason why I did that is because we had the big gap up. And quite honestly, if I were to take these fibs and come up underneath, sorry, this area here to this right there, this in this area here, then I am bullish as long as we stay above 411. Super bullish if we can get back above 434. Um, if for some reason we continue to go sideways to down, I'm a buyer at 411. Yeah, I like the little inside and up that we have here as well. So 411, I like it on Dell. And I really like it. Let's say intraday, we finally start to get a move up. It starts to get really bullish above the 434 level. Okay. We're kind of stuck at the moment. We're only $2 away from me feeling super bullish, but we are currently $20 away for me feeling like I want to get long. Okay. So $20, that would be a really nice drop for a nice move to the upside, and only $2 for me to take like what I would consider like a breakout trade. All right. Now, with this analysis, I want everybody to understand I always do a top down approach. And then I will use for an intraday trade, I will use my PMZ. So let me show you what that looks like real quick. So I say to myself, hey, this actually looks bullish. I want to buy the pullback. I'm going to go into a smaller time frame. Okay. And start looking at things like, say, the 4 hour, the 2 hour, things like that. And then I'll get all the way over to a 5 minute chart. And then I'll take a look at the PMZ. Okay. And here's the PMZ right there. I'll assess it in the morning. I'll look at the ultra squeeze down here, start looking for signs. And I'm going to take this trade over the top of this red zone. Now, the part that I haven't talked about is when we do the blueprints on the ES and the NASDAQ futures, we put all that together. And when Mel and I are calling out those trades, like they're fun, right? Like you're making some money intraday, but when I'm concentrated on a name like Dell, Microsoft, whatever, I'm waiting for the ES and the Nasdaq futures to come into those buy zones. When we get to those buy zones, and and we look to get long, all right, and then they start to push to the upside, then I know that buyers are coming into the market. And that's about the same time right here, right? So if Mel and I were talking about the Nasdaq and going, hey, we're looking for buyers to show up, that's exactly the same time is when Dell started to find buyers today. Okay. And then it starts to push up and over the PMZ, and then boom, I'm getting long out of here. All right. And so this would be my entry in this area. All right. So pretty straightforward stuff.
Good stuff, and
Yeah.
sorry, I had to laugh when you
Oh no,
said
that was
boy
funny.
zones.
I know. I looked over at a word. Somebody sent me a Slack, and at the same time, I messed up my words. I was like, "Whoops."
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I saw a request,
Hmm.
it popped through, I think in, the SPX room for PayPal,
Ooh, there's a name I haven't
PYPL, and
seen
we
in quite
haven't
some
looked at
time.
that.
All right. Same thing. Top down approach. Okay. PayPal on the weekly, it has been absolutely dead since February. It came into a zone. I think I made this zone quite some time ago. And it reminds me of Bitcoin right here. It looks literally just like it. It came into a demand zone. It popped up into a bear channel. It went sideways. It broke back down to that demand zone. And is finally, at least, you could say that it's inside the cloud. So if you take the bottom of the cloud and the top of the cloud, and then it came into the second EMA, which is resistance until proven otherwise. I would wait for it to confirm that it can get over this level up here, and that would be around the 47 level. I do think once it gets above there, we can head into this supply zone here, okay, right there. And that would push us up into the 49 by 52. All right. So that's what I'm looking at there. But then as I break down the time frames, the daily, we have a gap fill at around 45.30, and we have a 200 SMA that comes in. Overall, I like that it keeps coming back to demand and pushing up. Okay. What I don't like about it is I feel like there's a lot other charts out there that will just give you 4 or $5 to the upside a lot easier than PayPal. That's how I feel about it. But if you choose to want to be in this trade, what I would say is, potentially wait for it to come back right into this area. So at around 45 and some change down to about 43, and that's where I'd look to get long again. And then I would be aiming towards the 49 to 53 level. All right. But like I said, I feel like there's a lot other trades out there that look a little bit more promising. Okay. Anyways, it's almost 9:30, guys. Thank you so much for being here, for participating. Happy to hear that a lot of you guys, sounds like some of you guys made some money off of our short idea up there by the supply zone and the long idea. And you guys made some really good money in Apple from John's alert. So it's been a good Monday. Really appreciate you all. Thank you so much and have an amazing day.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Thanks, traders. Y'all have a great Monday.
All right, guys. So let's see what's happened so far. Not much. We had a really big wick to the downside there. No. Okay, we had a 5-minute close there. Possibly got a setup here. That would have got stopped out pretty quickly as we moved right back up to the upside there. Pretty wicky. Today's action is really tight. I hate to say that I put us into that. Remember, I said that we might just hang around the 7,600 level this morning or today. That might be coming true, seeing that we're sitting at 7,599 at the moment. The ES trade that I put on that I shared with you guys this morning, you could have followed this morning as well. If you followed me on
Hey,
X,
fam. I'm not sure
it's
if
up
y'all
about
can hear
150
me,
bucks or
but
so.
if anyone went short at the top of chop again, I did. I had a bid setting there. It's up about 20% here. I'm going to go ahead and take some profits at this bottoming wick and move my stop to break even. Not sure if anybody else took it again. Just playing both sides there.
Hey, Mel, can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Now
Hey,
I can.
I think you have me muted in the trendy room, maybe.
Oh, do I?
It's
Oh,
all
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
it's all good because I do the same thing. I mute one
Oh,
of the rooms,
gosh.
but just letting you know because I was talking over there and you
Oh,
came on and I
yeah.
was like, I think she's in the SPX room.
Oh,
No
yes,
big deal.
you're right. Sorry.
No big deal. No big deal at all. Let's see. Let me find. There we go. Okay, cool.
Did you go short up there, John, back up
I
at the top of chop?
I did not know. Not at the moment. Honestly, I think I'm gonna just kind of relax here and see what else plays out. I got that iron fly on for ES futures.
Oh, yeah, you've
And
got yeah.
yeah, that thing's doing well. I mean, we're literally
Yeah,
just sitting here
because
at
we're just stuck.
7,600.
Yeah.
Stuck like Chuck. So,
I
yeah.
can't even tell you how many times I said that exact same phrase
Oh man.
last week, dude. Oh, and the
Yeah.
week before, John. I
Mm.
know it looks like something to you if you're just looking at it after the fact, but really, honestly, dude, price is just stuck.
Mhm. Big time. It is.
FYI, you're not speaking in the SPX room.
Oh, that's okay. I was jumping off.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm jumping
gotcha.
off just for about 30 minutes. I'm gonna have some coffee, take a little break. I'm gonna check on Ashley too. She's not feeling well. She
Oh,
thinks she might have came
no.
down with something, which we just came off a
Mhm.
cruise. We flew. Yeah, so I'm just gonna check on her real quick. She was not doing so hot this morning. So
Mm.
yeah, and I'm gonna send you a text real quick. Something really crazy and funny happened. It's not. I just here. I want to see your reaction when I send you this. I'm not gonna say this out loud. I mean, maybe I feel like
Wait,
it's a
let
little
me
too
find my
early.
phone, dude.
It's a little
Oh,
too early in the morning.
I just got a
Um,
trim on something, guys. Whatever I called out. Where is my phone? Give me a second. Oh, there it is. Jeez. Let's see. Yeah, Janet, he's not talking in the SPX room. He's sending me something and he wants to hear my reaction. Oh no, it's I caught one word. Oh no.
isn't that crazy?
Hold on. What? How?
I don't
How
know,
does that
man.
even work, dude?
She's like, I got 3 things I want to talk about this morning, and then I'm going back to bed. I don't feel good. Yeah.
Oh.
So one is our roof is still leaking because we're getting really, really bad rain here, like for the last 2 weeks. And then she told me that. Anyway, someone's at my door. I'm gonna jump off for a bit, and I'll be back with you guys a little bit later.
All right, cool. His cat poo-pooed in his washing machine. That's what the text was. Uh, if anyone's short the top of the chop, I'm taking my next trim. That's at the PMZ. Anyone short top of chop? Top of chop short? PMZ trim. Awesome, Jason. Yeah, Brennan, did you catch that, my friend? If you're wondering where I would look to go long is the PMZ. But now that low on the day would have to be my stop. So you got a wider zone in there. If you have a wider zone, consider scaling in or waiting for confirmation in the zone. Oh, Janet, you were waiting for confirmation since it's been tested numerous times. There's nothing wrong with that, Janet, unless, of course, you have been playing it all morning and you're in good profits because it has played out to the upside 3 times and the downside 3 times, now 4 times. I have been playing the chop this morning, so I wasn't waiting for the confirmation. I had it just setting there. All right, guys, next target, if you are short from the top of the chop on SPX, is going to be 75.38. All right. Oh, did Apple pull way? Oh, yes, Apple pulled way back. Gave up 50%, over 50% of what it rallied. No, TLC, I don't use OCO orders. I sure don't. Because I don't have hard stops. Mine are alerts and I wait for candle close. All right, guys. Hit a call wall this morning, Benjamin. Wow. Made new all-time highs, right? I wonder if my Apple equity got trimmed. I don't know what my target was. Let me see. Just out of curiosity. Nope. Nope. No trim. All right, guys. I'm gonna hop off of here for a few. And but I'll be around the charts most of the day. I do have to leave early just so I can get everything packed up and get the girls and myself ride the train into Newark Airport. So I'll be around to answer your questions. Okay.